Oh, let's get into Sir Elton John.
Yes.
He's a knight now, and he's like, oh, well, I don't give away my shit for free.
As well he should.
Yeah, over in Austin, they want a free screening of Thou's life story. Are you crazy? We did not get a screening of Rocketman.
No.
Let him know who you are. And just don't kill yourself with drugs.
I have not been good for his health lately. He's not been happy. He has not been happy at me. Or with me, man. Shit. I even gave him a shirt from dtmerch.com. And he did not smile, man.
All right, you caught me with that one.
I said, you heard on this?
You never do it this early in the show.
Hey, you heard Chris? Hey, put this happiness on you with that classic Black Tuesday look. Oh man, just cry your misery out in that cup right there. And you have the gift of choice, people, up in dtmerch.com. Please go over to doubletoasted.com and subscribe or donate or whatever you can to keep these things going. You know, Sir Elton John, I do not give away my life for free. And I wanted to see this anyway because I need to rinse. I need to rinse my mind. You know,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Oh man, we going beyond that. See, it's funny because everybody forgets, as they should. Everybody forgets that there, long ago and far away, there was another Rocket Man that existed.
Now, our final member of the Mars team, astronaut Fred Randall. Rocket Man.
This kid was our last hope.
This was a dude that they were trying to push back in the day. A guy named Harlan Williams. Harlan Williams was supposed to be like the next big Jim Carrey type guy. And they forced that dude on people,
they sure
man.
Did.
And it took about a good year or two for people to coming back like, we don't want this motherfucker, man. Give me my money back. I don't want this fake ass Jim Carrey right here.
Yeah, it took about 4 movies before they got it.
Yeah. Rocket Man is actually one of the worst movies. I hated this fucking film.
You sure did.
I hated this movie.
Doesn't he sing If You Wish Upon a Star in this?
Why are you trying to make me relive this shit, man?
Hey, you bring it up.
I did.
You got to go through it.
It was one of those rare movies where I would sit up there and like, stop. Stop. Please stop. It was hurting. It was hurting, Martin. That's
this
why.
And Van Wilder and Jingle All the Way were those 3 movies that you could not stand. Oh, and Freddie Got Fingered.
Freddie Got Fingered is the king of
Yeah, that was the king.
Rocket Man was a close second. And this asshole was in Freddie Got Fingered. So the 90s was a period where I couldn't get away from this dude. Yeah, this sums it up right here for everybody. This fart joke.
What? Oh my God. Oh man.
Oh Jesus. And that's a Disney movie too. Disney's Rocket Man.
Rocket Man.
Shut the fuck up. I hate that fucking film, man. That's why I said when they had another movie called Rocket Man, I was like, they remade that movie? Oh fuck. He's back.
But he sings this time.
Harlan Williams is Elton John. I was like, no. But then I found out it was the proper Rocket Man, Elton John's Rocket Man. And you're right. After Bohemian Rhapsody, I was a little bit nervous because this is the same director of Bohemian Rhapsody.
Is it?
Yeah. After they got rid of
Bryan Singer.
Bryan Singer. This is the other director they got coming on. What do you remember? Dexter Fletcher.
Whew.
That's right. He's an actor. That's what I even said with Bohemian Rhapsody. Now they showed this at Cannes, whatever the hell they call it. And people over there, they're like, "Bravo, Rocket Man!" But you know those assholes.
Yeah, those
you can't
assholes. They
trust
do that
them,
with
man.
everything.
They do that with everything.
I've been burned on so many movies that they loved it at Cannes.
Yeah.
When they fucked up over there.
Yeah. Those fools just they're drunk and on vacation. They just happy to be there. Have them people clapping. Don't even know what they looked at
Right.
for the last
It
2
was
hours.
wonderful.
Yeah. Bravo. You're looking at the wall. So, bullshit they do at the film festivals. I mean, we had to pay our money to see this. So you know
Yep.
we ain't going to be playing around. So let's go ahead and take a look at this trailer for Taron Egerton, which you don't even like. You
No,
don't even like that dude.
I didn't say I don't like him.
So I'm eager to hear what you say. He hates that dude.
I don't hate him.
After he was Eddie the Eagle.
Eddie the Eagle sucked. And it's the same director from Eddie the Eagle.
Yeah, I like Eddie the Eagle. So maybe
Nah,
I'm a
that
little
movie-
partial.
that
This
movie's
man is
some
who you're gonna
bullshit.
really have to please over here. I know. Don't tell. He think he's the king of movies over here. I say it sucks. Therefore, it sucks. Yeah, motherfucker.
You have to say it like that. You gotta kill the person you wanna be.
Yeah. To be the person you wanna be, bitch. Elton John he's one of those guys that he's so popular, so big, so legendary. Everybody knows his music. You at least know one song from somewhere. From The Lion King.
If you only know one song, you've been under a rock.
Yeah, there's something wrong with you. But I have to say, after watching this movie right here, I still don't know a goddamn thing about Elton John. And people like saying, well, you laid out for you right there. Listen, let's just deal with the fact that Hollywood just be bullshitting. They just lie. Hollywood lies about...
And they enhance the truth.
They enhance truth. These biopics right here, Hollywood now they just making shit up to whatever makes them happy, whatever suits them. Godzilla was more accurate than this shit was right here. It's all true. We all jumped on Bohemian Rhapsody for that reason right there. You didn't tell the truth. You mixed some things up. You turned history around. It just made up shit. As far as ROCKETMAN, hey, listen, that's no documentary either. At this point, these movies, including this one, for whatever Can said about it, whatever any critics say about it, whatever praise it's been getting and great reviews, it's just pure entertainment. You want an education, go read a book. Or do your research, or go on the internet, read an article or something, because you ain't gonna get it from this. I would say, why is ROCKETMAN getting all these great reviews in Bohemian Rhapsody, even though it was nominated for Best Picture, even though it was a crowd pleaser,
made a ton of money,
made a lot of money. What separates these two? Is it the critics just are they just doing this in spite of Bohemian Rhapsody? Are they just are they just that stuffy? What's going on? If you're gonna take creative liberties, be creative.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, this does a lot of when we saw trailers for Bohemian Rhapsody, we thought, man, it looks like it might do this, and that would be cool.
Yeah.
And then it didn't. It was a straightforward biopic with a bunch of lies in it. And this tells you right off the bat that this is a musical fantasy.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Based around the events that happen and a real person. But
see, I didn't hate Bohemian Rhapsody, but it was a straight. That movie really was. It was a straightforward biopic that was nothing. It leaned on the greatest hits of Queen. I'm still holding to my theory that a lot of people really thought this movie was great because they just bombarded them with Queen songs at the end.
Sure.
Now with ROCKETMAN, it's just. They just didn't give you the origin of a song, which is what Bohemian Rhapsody was.
Yeah.
Hey guys, this has been going in my head. I can't get it out of my head. Meanwhile, like, fucking, we will rock you, goddammit. We know what it is.
And there's no way you came up with it that way.
It's just pounding in my head. This beat, mate. Oh my God, what was that?
That's the beat pounding in your head.
No, they don't just give you the origins of a song. They turn them into a musical number.
This really felt like it was one of those not off Broadway, a Broadway musical. Even a jukebox musical where they wrote it to have a story that was built around Elton John's life.
Yeah. What they do is they take Elton John songs and since they're turning them into musical numbers, they elaborate on them in the most creative way. There's dancing, there's a mixture of different styles. The camera the camera work is these long, complicated tracking shots. What they do is they take what you're familiar with and something that you already love, and then they turn that into the big crowd-pleasing moment. I immediately fell in love with parts of this movie when they did their interpretation of Saturday Night.
Pretty tight in here tonight. I'm looking for a dolly who'll see me right. Saturday, 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 Saturday.
People are like, I'm just trying to get on the bumper car.
If I could just see
Yeah.
this way,
Y'all dancing and not getting in the way.
Oh, the operators dancing.
Yeah.
too.
Anybody work here, man? That ain't dancing right now, singing. It's like if Elton John had a theme park where the singing and dancing never stops, but you'll never get on this fucking ride. That's one of those songs where even if you don't like rock and roll or whatever, that song's got a great beat to it, man.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, and there's no way that people don't like that song. You saw how they changed that, turned around, made it into something bigger. That's what they do with the musical numbers here, man. It's great. After that point, the musical numbers are probably some of my favorite parts of the film. Mm-hmm. Having musical numbers is cool because what it does is it allows the film to not be beholden to facts so much anymore.
Sure, because
this is a fantasy land now.
Because even like throughout the narrative, the order in which the songs come into play are completely mixed around.
Yeah,
because in the early days, he's singing songs. I'm like, all right, that song didn't come out to the late '80s. They're not sticking to this.
What they're doing is they're taking the songs and instead of just and again, that's why we say, when you see, I hate to keep going back to Bohemian Rhapsody, but again, they're just telling like, hey, this is how the band got together, and this is how we came up with these songs. Which again, half of that's not even true. They're saying, all right, look, in this movie here, the dance numbers are meant to tell Elton John's story, not his musical career.
Yeah, I mean, as much as you think you're watching a straight biopic, because that number with Saturday Night, that Saturday, that opens up early. I mean, kind of early in the film, but before up to that point, you think you're watching a straight biopic, and when they break into that, you go, oh, okay, I see what kind of movie I'm watching now.
Even before that, won't tell you how the movie opens up, but they are telling Elton John's life in chronological order.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
But what they're doing is they're not telling the songs in chronological order because the songs are used to tell about his life. Mm-hmm. There's a musical number with him as a little boy at the beginning that he's singing. And I think they did this on purpose because they have like an 8-year-old little boy talking about, bitch is back.
Oh, yes, right.
And his mom is outside, boy, what you say? Get your ass.
Man, yeah, those kids, the young Elton John, you're like, oh, that's cute. And at the very end, they show old pictures of him compared to them. You're like, holy shit. It's like y'all used a time machine to pull him.
It really is. They did some careful casting. Mm-hmm. That 8-year-old boy that they got, I don't know, he might be 8, 7, 9. But they put a picture of him by young Elton John. I was like, wow, that looks just like him. Mm-hmm. They did some very careful casting with that. We see him as a teenager too, and those parts are very good. It doesn't feel like we're just trying to fill in the gaps to get to like the Elton John, It feels like they went very careful into his childhood to make those very appealing too. Mainly because, again, those kids get a chance to perform themselves. Yeah. They're not there to be like, look at me, I'm Elton John at 12. With a pompadour. The dramatic parts work well too outside of the musical because of the casting of not just the kids, but of some of the other supporting characters. The parts, the parts with those characters, again, they're cool. You just have to be careful because you don't know if they're bullshitting or not.
Right.
Because his parents. I'm about to play this clip right here. His parents are played by Stephen McIntosh and Bryce Dallas Howard, who is really good in this. She's got that British accent now. Now I'm not British, but I couldn't tell no difference in it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If I'd never seen her before, I would have thought she was real.
Yeah, no, casting is great. They do an excellent job of being assholes in this movie. They are shitty people.
Well, and that's the thing is, Elton John is a producer on this, so I was like, man, this guy, either his parents did a number on him, or he just hates them because they are not painted in a good light whatsoever.
His parents, man. okay, so this movie, man, you know, they got to give you a reason to see Elton John make it. You're like, man, I'll be glad when Elton John gets out there, because his parents are so bad, man. They're such selfish people. Like you just rooting for the day. You say, man, I can't wait till Elton John gets famous and tells them to go f themselves, because they are that bad.
It's only on Saturdays. Things to do on weekends. Can't just drop everything.
I'll take you.
Where are you off to?
Come from the shadows.
I know.
What are you doing?
Reddy's piano teacher thinks he's good enough for a scholarship.
Really? You think he's got that kind of talent?
Of course he has.
You know, Dad, like, you f***ing my wife? I'm your son. I didn't ask you that. They just use this kid to make each other mad, to piss each other off.
I know.
It's heartbreaking, man, because his parents, I won't tell you everything, but it just gets...
But that's, especially that dad.
Oh,
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the things that dad does. I mean, they're both shitty people. They really are. At least mom feeds this kid. Mm-hmm. You know, dad...
She pays some attention to him, even if it's negative.
Dad don't give a f***.
I've never seen a character in any movie give less of a f*** than his dad does.
I mean, this asshole doesn't have one nice thing to say. Nothing. Even when Elton John, who what was his name?
Reginald Dwight.
Reginald, young Reginald. Even when he comes in the room, I mean, when it seems like they could bond, he's like, Dad, I really like your music. Don't ever come in my room and touch my records. Sit down. It's like,
and
Jesus.
be quiet.
And be quiet. Bryce Dallas Howard is really good in this role too, though.
Yeah, I mean, as deplorable as she was, I just loved her. Every time she was on screen, I was like, what's she gonna say next?
Right? Yeah. And it's even like, wow. In every scene she's in, even when she's older, she's really good looking. It's like, Jesus, what's going on with Dad?
Right.
You trying to talk about Elton John again? You must be gay if you ain't f***ing that. I mean, come on, man. She's very good though. I enjoyed her very much in the movie, even though you don't like her. But the biggest villain in the movie,
Rob Stark.
Old Rob Stark, Richard Madden. Richard Madden, he plays John Reed, Elton John's manager and lover. And before I go any further with this, I just want to say that they've been talking about Richard. Is that his name? Richard Madden.
Yeah.
They've been talking about him playing James Bond. And I'm gonna tell you something. Even looking at him as Elton John's manager, I'm like, Jesus, he could be James Bond.
Hell yeah.
He's just a manager.
Yeah.
And he's James Bond.
Yeah.
And and I'm not even thinking like a great James Bond, but he'd make a great gay James Bond.
That'd be an interesting way to play it.
If James Bond, if he played James Bond as a gay man, people be like, they wouldn't fight it. Be like, shit, I get it.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, the way he picks up Elton John in the movie here, it's smooth, man.
Well, he just shows up in a $1,000 suit and just stands there staring.
Yeah. Oh no, he don't even stare. He just sits down and he stole some wine in the room, sat down, and he was smooth with his game.
In fact, I predict you could be the best-selling artist in America if you desire. So you like the song, then? Not quite as much as the singer.
It's kind of like, Jesus, maybe James Bond should start dudes. Like he starts henchmen. Maybe even the main villain. He'll save a lot of time. And there's several times in the movie where he's very good as I think it's John Reed. I think, but again, just like James Bond, he just does people dirty, man.
Sure.
Like the way
he's a record producer.
Yeah.
What do you think he's gonna do?
Like the way Bond breaks up with chicks and just does them cold, does them dirty. He does the same thing.
Get in the studio, make some music or don't. I don't care. In fact, take me to court. You signed contracts with me years ago, so I'll still be collecting my 20% long after you've killed yourself.
That's some cold shit. Yeah, keep talking that shit to me. I'm the Bond of gay people and executive record producers. Fuck you. But John Reed, he actually, there's a big, like, you just can't get away from Bohemian Rhapsody. He actually represented Queen. And here's the funny thing, man. In Queen, he was also played by another Game of Thrones guy, Littlefinger, man.
Oh, that was the same guy?
That was the same guy.
Oh, how
what's
funny.
the actor's name that played?
Gillen.
Aiden Gillen.
Yeah.
And I was like, nah, I can't wait for the next movie where John Reed is played by Peter Dinklage. Why is he short? I don't.
Well, I did think it was funny how both movies have the record executive who's like telling them like you can't do things this way, who's all in their face, and the gay lover who steals them away from everybody else.
Yeah.
Who's also turns out to be evil.
Well, and so in the spoiler right here in Bohemian Rhapsody, Aiden Gillen, who played John Reed, now in that movie he's represented.
He's the good guy.
He is a good guy. He's represented as the person who has the best interest of the band at heart. He's the one that's trying to help them.
Yeah.
In this movie, as I said, he's clearly the villain of the film, cold-hearted.
Yeah.
Ruthless.
Yeah. He it starts out with the parents as a villain, and he says, "Here, hold my beer."
Yeah. And you're like, yeah, shit, y'all ain't shit. Back up. Back the fuck up.
Let me show you how this is done.
I'm gonna show you abuse. I read up on this guy, and it turns out, man, that John Reed, I mean, just like you expect, he's not. For what I believe is true, he's like they were together for a while, and whatever happened with them, it was just business and personal relationship stuff.
Yeah.
The period that they were together. You got some of the best songs.
Sure.
From
absolutely.
Elton John. Yeah, it wasn't like he was like some big shady record producer. He was just. They had a falling out. They did go to court at one time. He says maybe Elton and John and I will see each other again one day and we'll shake hands and a hug. Maybe we won't. But a lot of people say, other than this dude, believe it or not, having a temper and punching people several times. So yeah, he did probably punch Elton John, which is something that happened in the movie. People say he wasn't evil.
Well, the whole thing, this movie from the beginning lets you know, because it opens with Elton John in rehab. It's all telling it from his point of view.
Yeah.
So I knew that, going in. I mean, the movie is very blatant about that. So you got to take everything with a grain of salt. But from Elton's perspective, hey, it hurt him and broke his heart.
Yeah. I mean, but again, it's like, does that make him a bad guy like everybody said? Because from this perspective, it's like they showed him as somebody who's just like, you know what, I'm going to f*** you and then I'm going to take a career. And it's like, it's not portrayed like that.
Well, you also have to look at this movie much when the movie is sanctioned by the estate of the person it's about, or that person is still alive. You really have to, you have to temper how you look at things, because you look at this and you see Elton John where he's going through all this stuff. He's dealing with being gay and trying to deal with his stardom and his shyness and his drug addiction, and scene after scene, maybe he's out of control some, or he loses his temper a little bit, but he's never really the bad guy. And there is no time where you are never the bad guy.
And that was another thing I was going to say. There are moments in here where it could be that, you're getting it from one guy's perspective. Mm-hmm. And so when that's happening, I'm looking for a particular scene right here. When that's happening, there are moments in here where it seems like, I'm willing to bet if it's a one-sided story. It seems like, well, I was out of control, but I wasn't like these other people taking advantage of me. But, maybe, just maybe, you had a hand in how people treated you.
Jump!
Well, this is the one he's telling his best friend. He's like, hey, f*** you, I'm Elton John.
I just sing without this ridiculous paraphernalia.
People don't pay to see Reg White. They pay to see Elton John.
Sorry. I know.
When you're on drugs and you have an addiction to everything, drugs, sex, shopping, it's like, hey, man, maybe there was like something about you in there too. But again, that's why I say I wouldn't walk in here and I'm not defending the movie. In fact, I'm almost apologizing to certain things like Bohemian Rhapsody and Green Book and anything else I said that they weren't very accurate, because obviously Hollywood is not interested in that. Just my whole thing is just don't go in looking for accuracy. Enjoy it as a film.
Right.
If you will will enjoy it.
Because I know something I remember reading years ago was how, like with Bernie Taupin, he makes a pass at him. He's like, yo, man, I'm not down with that, but we can be cool. But from what I understood, he was in love with him, like a huge crush on him for years. It took him a long time to get over.
Who, Bernie? And we're talking about Bernie Taupin, his writing partner, who's played by
Jamie
Bell in the movie. Again, contributing to a great cast right here. But we've talked about everybody except the main star, which is Taron Egerton, who I think does an incredible job in this film.
Yeah, he tears it up.
The way he sings these songs, man. He can sing. I forgot to put it up here, but there was even a clip.
I mean, he's not quite Elton John because Elton John is truly an original.
Nobody's gonna be Elton John.
Right. Nobody's gonna be that, but he does. He's so much closer than you would ever think somebody could get.
Look. You're right. He ain't no Elton John, and I think there's a moment where Taron Egerton even gets nervous. Like he comes out.
I would be.
Yeah, he comes out fine, and he's singing, and he looks over and says, "Oh shit, that's Elton John." Voice kind of cracks a little bit.
None to you, and I'm gonna be hard.
You're not.
Well, now to be fair, back in the 80s, Elton John had to have surgery on his throat to remove some nodules, and he can't hit those high notes anymore either.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, they put those nodules back in his throat. Taron Egerton, because he can't get high. No, but look, I'm joking because he's doing a much better job than I can do.
Oh, yeah.
Taron Egerton is an incredible talent, man. The guy, I didn't even know he could sing until he was that gorilla. Do you remember that?
Yes, insane.
Insane. I would even say that gorilla got him his part.
Right.
Because that gorilla was doing Elton John.
Your blood like a winter freezes just like ice, and there's a cold, lonely light that shines from you. Wind up like a wreck, you hide behind that mask you use.
Elton John's like, find me that gorilla.
You can't make this movie unless you get that gorilla. That gorilla's not. I don't care.
Find him. I'm Sir Elton John.
He does a better job than I think anyone could do of mimicking his voice, and he throws himself into the role like that. That's one of those Oscar-worthy performances of transforming yourself into another person.
It really is. And that leads me to say something. I almost forgot to say this. This shit better be nominated for Best Picture. I don't care if it's not even Best Picture.
I don't know if it's worthy of Best Picture, but
they nominated Bohemian Rhapsody. They need nominate this shit just as an apology, just to say you're sorry and I made a mistake. Because this is what Bohemian Rhapsody should have been.
Yeah, it's everything it should. It's almost like Dexter Fletcher said, okay, listen, give me a chance and I'm going to show you what I would have done with that movie if they didn't bring me on at the last minute.
Exactly. I really love this, man. And like I said, a lot of it is right on the music, but not only because of Elton John's library of classics, but also just because of the way they reworked them so that they felt new.
You know who deserves an Oscar? The costume department.
Yes.
Because they nailed those costumes.
Yes, they did.
There was just no question that those were the same. And even when at the end, when they showed the original costume, you're like, it's not exactly the same, but it's so goddamn close. You guys deserve something. Watching this, I thought back to, of course, Bohemian Rhapsody and with Freddie Mercury and how Rami Malek, yes, when he was on stage as Freddie Mercury, he got it down. But whenever he wasn't, it was like, man, it's not like you're doing a bad job, but you're not Freddie Mercury. This character you're playing, this is a cartoon version of Freddie Mercury. It's not really
that's
him.
Not even a cartoon. That's a horse.
Yeah. He's got the bad teeth. He's prancing around like a twink, and I was like, that's not Freddie Mercury. That's not what he was like.
Some parts, I guess if I had anything to say, because I'm going to tell you right now, I'm going to give this a full price, very high full price, because I just enjoyed it. There were some things in here that I really enjoyed. And before I forget, I got to say that some people are not going to mention some of the other folks in here that give great performances. But Stephen Graham, who was like his first agent.
Oh yeah, that guy.
Now it was a cartoonish character, but I loved him.
But he always plays these hard British assholes.
He really does, man.
Or not American sometimes. Sometimes he's Al Capone, but
yeah, they had Elton John playing some of his classics in the work, and they would start out dun dun dun. Off.
Yeah.
It's shite. Play me something good. I get the got him off. It's like,
Daniel is traveling tonight. No, no, that's shite, mate.
But he's really good, man.
Yeah. No, he's hilarious. I mean, but he's played that part a lot.
He has. Yeah, he played Al Capone, right?
Yeah.
In Boardwalk Empire.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's probably where you remember him. Nah, he's a great actor, man. I love that. I tell you, some parts in here, you can tell, if I get into some complaints of it, that keep me from doing like Better Than Sex or something. But there's some parts in here where you can tell, like, they're very obvious that, okay, this never happened. And not only did it not ever happen, but this is the cliche of a biopic like this.
Yes.
And there's one in particular that there's one thing I don't like. I like when people say, like when people are changing their name, like, well, what's your name? Elton. Elton what? And they look around the room. And then on the wall, there's the Beatles. You see John Lennon. John. Elton John. And it's like, and that's how he was born. It's like, I don't like that. That's something personal for me.
Yeah.
I know it doesn't bother a lot of people, but I don't like it.
I don't like it.
Okay. The movie, by the time it got to the end, it made me feel, and if Elton John really feels this way, then I really praise this movie for getting us across. It gave you the feeling that money really cannot buy you happiness. No. Money and fame. No. They really nailed home the loneliness that this guy felt. And there were some moments where he had everything. And those were the biggest heartbreaking moments, when he had everything and he was just hurt.
Yeah.
There's one scene in here where I felt so bad for him. And you'll know it when you see it, but there's just one. It's like, Jesus, you really are an asshole, man. You're a monster. And that's, that drove it home for me more than anything I've seen in a long time. Yeah, but it's a full price, man. I really had a good time this morning watching this. I love this movie, man.
I liked it quite a bit. Now, if for me it was more like a really high matinee, maybe a low full price, but more like a really high matinee, because I really did enjoy it. I just found certain things in it just lacking a little bit, like the musical numbers. I appreciate they were there, but I was always like, it seems like because they can't decide how much they want to do musical, how much biopic, that the musical numbers don't have quite the oomph they should have, or more thrown in them. And I felt that way with each one of them. And throughout the film, it was kind of repetitive in what the stuff it would go to, back and forth to the little bit of rise, addiction, shitty parents, shitty people, a little bit more. Still a fantastic movie. If you have any inkling, any curiosity to see it, I highly suggest it. So yeah, it's a very high matinee for me.
Yeah, it's a fun time at the theater, either way it goes. Thank you for watching the whole video, everyone. That means you love us and you want to stay with us. So hit that subscribe button. And if you really love what we do, check out our main site, doubletoasted.com. Over there, you'll find the long-form, unedited version of this video, along with the live streams that we do almost every night of the week. Support us at dtmerch.com. And remember to always, stay toasty. You can actually watch the review of Bohemian Rhapsody right here on this YouTube channel. Or if you want to see the whole thing, unedited, uncut, uncensored, go to our main site, doubletoasted.com. You can watch the full review over there.